Dear friends, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you to listen to the second video presentation on the impact of COVID-19. Now, shall try to look at the third question given to me. The question is like this. Question number 3. Most people are today choked by a lot of fear on account of the coronavirus. What psychological remedies can be given to people to help them come out of the so-called abnormal fears related to coronavirus? Martin Luther King Jr. has written a thought-provoking book entitled The Strength to Love. In one of the chapters, he gives 4 main remedies for fear. They are called the antidotes for fear. Almost all human beings are haunted by fear, which appears in several forms. It may be quite difficult for us to find anyone in this world who is totally free from all kinds of fears. Fears can be broadly classified into 2 groups: normal fears and abnormal fears. Normal fears are good and help us to take the necessary steps to protect ourselves from various kinds of dangers. But abnormal fears choke us and prevent us from growing up. For example, when I am going through a deep jungle, it is quite normal for me to have fear of snakes. However, if I am afraid that a snake is remaining hidden under my bed, it is abnormal fear. Martin Luther King Jr. recommends 4 important remedies for overcoming our abnormal fears. Let us try to use these remedies all the more during this time when most people are so scared of the coronavirus. The first remedy he recommends is a psychological one. It means analyzing properly the various causes of fear and the need to become more and more familiar with the objects of fear. Psychoanalysis, counseling, etc. can be of great help if one is terribly afraid of the coronavirus. It may not be easy for most people to get in touch with qualified counselors, and counseling is quite expensive too. Therefore, most of us will have to do some homework on our own. Some of the state governments have taken care to provide the mobile numbers of some counselors so that those who have abnormal fears or those who are going through any kind of depression can get counseling help online. What I presented to you the last video, if we take care to understand more and more the origin, the nature, and the spread of the virus, and what all preventive and curative measures can be taken by us, that kind of a familiarity with the object of the abnormal fear can help us a lot in overcoming our fears. Certain amount of normal, healthy fear of the coronavirus will help us to take the necessary precautions. The second antidote for fear is courage. The grave crisis we are facing today on account of the COVID-19 has given us a golden opportunity to delve deep into our own inner resources and muster enough courage to deal with the present situation. Having courage does not mean being foolish or being reckless. A person who is too much afraid of the coronavirus may remain all the time confined to his room or even toilet. But a person who has the courage to face it will willingly and joyfully abide by the rules and regulations given by the civil authorities, and at the same time try to make the best use of this time for doing many useful things by sitting at home. The third remedy that he proposes to us is faith. Faith in God, no matter whatever be the name by which the Supreme Being is addressed by different religious groups, is a source of great strength for human beings. Fear of wars between nations, fear of a nuclear disaster, fear of even the possibility of death by COVID-19 can be confronted by one's faith in God. Here I am reminded of an old story. There was a king who insulted a sage by hanging a dead snake on his neck. He was cursed by one of his disciples and told that he would die of snake bite within 7 days. The king was terrified and took all the necessary precautions to escape snake bite. He took refuge in a high tower and instructed his soldiers not to allow even a small creature to come near the tower. On the 7th day, as the day was almost coming to an end, he was confident that what the sage said would not come to pass. As the dinner was brought to him, in the apple which he took to eat, there was a small worm which suddenly transformed into a snake. It bit him in the mouth and he suddenly died. I have shared this story not in any way to subscribe to the law of karma or fatalism or even predestination. However, one thing I do believe is this: I did not come into this world on my own. I came exactly in accordance with the plan of God. And in His infinite wisdom, He also knows when I will die and depart from this world. Whatever may happen to me, death will not come to me unless my allotted days here on earth come to an end, in accordance with His plan. Even after having taken sufficient care not to get infected by the coronavirus, if it is part of God's plan that I get infected by the coronavirus and come out of it healed, as majority of people who are infected do, I will succeed in coming out that way. On the other hand, if it is part of God's plan that I should depart from this world on account of it, I need to be prepared for that too. This kind of attitude of surrender to the loving plan of God can help us all a lot, all the more during this time of COVID-19. It's also a time for us to grow in the trust that we have in our own dear and near ones, and in the capacity and the willingness of doctors and nurses and many others who are ready to look after the corona-infected patients. We need to have greater trust in the goodness of human beings all around us. As the famous saying goes, fear knocked at the door, faith answered. When I opened the door, there was no one there. The fourth antidote given by Martin Luther King is love. Most of the fears are arising in our lives on account of our lack of love for God and our fellow human beings. If we make it a point to daily grow in our love for God and others, it will give us great strength in dealing with our fears. Saint Paul has given a beautiful description of the ingredients of genuine love in his first letter to the Corinthians. He says, love is patient, kind, without envy. It is not boastful or arrogant. It is not ill-mannered, nor does it seek its own interest. Love is not provoked to anger, keeps no score of offenses. It does not take delight in wrong, but rejoices in truth. Love excuses all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endure all things. Love never ends. As for prophecies, they will cease. As for tongues, they will be silent. And as for knowledge, it will disappear. For our knowledge and prophecy grasp only something of the truth. But when what is perfect comes, everything imperfect will pass away. Now these three endure: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. 1 Corinthians 13, 4 to 10 and 13. No wonder why the Bible says, perfect love casts out all fear during this time of a pandemic, when the whole world is panic stricken. If you and I can make a conscious effort to make these four antidotes for fear more and more our own, I am sure it will be a great help for us in overcoming not only the fear of coronavirus, but all kinds of undue fears from our lives. Now we shall proceed to the fourth question. Question number 4. Religious leaders from different religions, what specific role do they have to play in helping people at this time of real need? Religious leaders from different religions, some of them were renowned wonder workers and faith healers. Most of them have vanished from the public and taken shelter in their own secure places to save their own lives, following the rules and the regulations given by the government. Till now, no one from among them has come forward daringly to confront the coronavirus openly or with a claim to eradicate the virus completely. Of course, during this time of great crisis, many people expected them to do something spectacular to save the lives of human beings. But nothing has happened till now. On account of this, many have lost faith in such leaders, and some people are even vehemently questioning them, mocking them, and condemning them, calling them frauds. However, we have no right to mock, judge, or condemn them. They have their vital role to play in the lives of many human beings, inspiring them, correcting them, guiding them, warning them, and also in enabling them to have better health of body, mind, and spirit. The sudden emergence of the coronavirus has taught us that after having seen or heard about some of the mighty work they have done, we should be careful in placing them on a high pedestal as if they are superhuman beings with the knowledge of everything in the world and have solutions to all our problems. If they have succeeded in doing some spectacular things, it is not with their own power, but with the power of God coming through them. Then a big question comes. Why God suddenly stopped operating through them during this time of dire need? We have no answer for this. Only God knows why. Some of the religious leaders may even take this opportunity to instill greater fear and guilt in the minds of people by reminding them that this has come on account of their sins, and therefore they need to repent and do penance for their sins. Instead of instilling hope in the minds of people and comforting them, if they use this occasion to blame human beings, it may only manifest their own rotten self. The outbreak of coronavirus has certainly given them a golden opportunity to humble themselves and accept their role as servants of God and of the human race, living in solidarity with the suffering humanity. Sitting in their own homes, still they can intercede for people, earnestly pray for them, and also have the possibility to open the doors of their centers for sheltering and taking care of some of the migrant laborers and the homeless poor. It is also a time for them to share at least a part of their financial resources they have collected from poor, innocent, helpless people with the intention of developing further their own so called spiritual empires. I would like to wind up my answer to this question by reminding all of you that religion and science, faith and reason, both are very important for our daily lives. They are not contradictory, but complementary. Those who rely heavily on science and reason, and mock at religious and faith need to understand in the case of coronavirus, when the medical science has not yet succeeded to come out with an effective remedy till now. Does it mean that science has failed? No, science has not failed. The religious leaders have failed to find a solution to the problem of coronavirus till now. Does it mean that religion has failed? No, religion has not failed. Both these are very powerful and have a great role to play in our lives. Yet, both these have their limits and limitations too. Thanks. Now we move on to the fifth question. Question number 5. Are you convinced that the world will succeed to come out of this tragic situation and move ahead with a new hope and vitality? I don't know what you feel about, but on my part, I am fully convinced that the world will succeed to come out of this tragic situation and move ahead with a new hope and vitality. In the past several centuries, this kind of virus attacks, plagues, epidemics, etc. have taken place in different parts of the world, taking the lives of millions of people. The difference with the COVID-19 is that it has spread all over the world and is called a pandemic. We can only hope and pray that it may disappear from this world as early as possible. But the peculiar nature of the mutated version of this coronavirus also gives us reasons to doubt about its quick disappearance. There is no guarantee that as the summer increases, it will disappear. When the temperature outside increases, it can easily move inside our houses and take refuge in rather cold places and continue to remain for a longer time. Even though all of us are eagerly waiting for the lockdown situation to be over, to resume our normal activities, it is quite possible that unless the spread of the COVID-19 comes down to zero level, governments in different countries will not be in a position to lift the lockdown completely. Some people have come out predicting the exact time when the coronavirus will disappear from this world. On my part, I don't give much importance to such predictions just because I feel that such predictions are not reliable based on facts. The best thing for us right now may be to ignore such predictions and live in the hope that it will gradually disappear and enable us to live normal lives as a suitable medical remedy is yet to come. The next video shall try to consider two more important questions on this topic. Once again, my sincere thanks to all of you for actively participating in this video presentation. Thank you.